Hello, and welcome to the Exponential Growth Podcast, powered by Analyst Investors. I'm your host, David Olivencia, co-founder of Analyst Investors, and a passionate advocate for leveraging innovation and technology to drive success. In this podcast, we'll dive into the strategies that top leaders, investors, and entrepreneurs are using to navigate and thrive in this era of accelerating technological change. Whether you're looking to lead more effectively, make smarter investments, or understand how to harness disruptive technologies for exponential growth, this podcast is for you. Each episode will feature conversations with visionary thinkers, industry pioneers, and innovative leaders who are redefining what's possible in today's rapidly evolving world. So if you're ready to start and stay ahead of this curve, let's get started. This is Exponential Growth. Hey everyone, hey, this is a bonus edition of the Exponential Growth Podcast. I had the opportunity to check out several of the videos from the World Economic Forum. I wasn't lucky enough to travel halfway around the world to beautiful Davos. I did have some friends and fellow members of Analyst Investors attend, but I wasn't able to attend. But the cool thing with technology is you're able to watch the videos of some amazing leaders who are really changing the world, driving technology, and hear kind of their perspectives and views that other political business leaders find insightful on the world stage. So I thought, I would encourage you to watch them on YouTube or other vehicles, but YouTube seems to be the where I watched them. But I thought I'd summarize some of the quick learnings from some of the leaders. And 4 or 5 leaders I wanted to just touch on some of the insights that I picked up. Elon Musk, he was with Larry Fink, and a couple of these interviews were with Larry Fink of Blackstone, and he really drove home energy, AI, but this continuous mission and purpose he has around making life, making humanity, making consciousness interplanetary. And he used this analogy of human consciousness as like a tiny candle that is very fragile. And we need to protect it so it doesn't get blown out, right? And his view is, hey, let's make life interplanetary. That's why he's got obviously SpaceX, Tesla. There's even conversations that they're going to merge them, XAI, and then also he has a big focus on energy. So he talked a lot about energy, about the power of the sun, how the U.S. is behind China in solar, but how just the enormous amount of energy and capacity from our sun. And then a quote that he used in Davos, but I've heard him use other places that it's better to be an optimist and be wrong than a pessimist and be right. So that was it was a great, insightful chat with Larry Fink. So I'd encourage you to watch it for more detail. That was the kind of synopsis of it. The second one was with Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA. The world's largest company by market cap. And he basically said multiple times that this is with AI, this is the largest infrastructure build out in human history. And he also highlighted that, the good thing about this largest infrastructure build out is there's going to be a lot of jobs, a lot of getting your hands dirty jobs, carpenter, manufacturing, HVAC, construction, to make, build out these data centers and build out this infrastructure. So talked about that. He also talked about, he's a really good communicator and laid out how we should think about AI and he called it like the layers of the stack. And he said, hey, at the bottom is energy, right? It's like the foundation. And then on top of that are chips, and then you have data centers, then you have, call it applications and things that use all this AI, on top of it. And he kind of laid out the various stacks and how to think about it. He talked about where they play, but how dependent they are on energy and how this, the build out. So he laid out a really good scenario way to think about AI and how it relates to all these things and just the components of it. Then he talked about he used an example about jobs. You know, is AI going to take away jobs, right? And then he talked about the scenario with a radiologist, and as they said, oh well, when AI came out, I don't know, several years ago or whatever, he said, that hey, there was they thought that AI has a really great application, how they can do radiology. They can read X-rays and then determine if you have cancer or not. And that was a huge use case, and everybody thought that all the radiologists were going to lose their jobs. And he said, no, it's actually quite the opposite. That yes, AI is doing that, reading all the things and giving really good diagnosis. But what it's done is it's freed up the time of call it the radiologist to spend more time with the patients and do more. So there's actually even more demand for that. So that's one of the stories he says. I don't know if I totally buy it, by the way. I think there's going to be a lot of jobs that are eliminated. I'm sure there's going to be cases like that. But anyways, he lays out that story, so you can take a listen to that. Satya Nadella was basically more from Microsoft. Was basically the CEO of Microsoft. Was basically like, hey, this is coming. You need to, look at your workflows, look at your organization. This is transformational, and that if you're staying still, you're going to get disrupted and beat by somebody who's smaller and more innovative because it's coming fast. Was basically his message. And then he talked about AI boosting human productivity. He also touched on energy costs and how that was important. It's an important area that we got to get fixed if we're going to win in AI. And then the last thing, I think this they're all kind of important, but I thought this one was really cool. And that even to this day, there's a big inequality, right? The rich keep getting richer, the poor keep getting poorer, and the middle class is relatively stagnant. The way trends are going, AI is not going to make this any better. And he's saying, hey, we need to look at AI and make sure that it's giving everybody the capacity, to compete, win, and remove any form of inequality, which I thought was great. And hopefully that we make that happen, right? I think it's important. Andy Jassy from the CEO of Amazon, by the way, they're a great sponsor of Angeles investors. Talked about tariffs, and yes, they have a huge AI cloud, all that kind of stuff, but they also have one of the world's largest, if not the world's largest, store. And so we talked a little bit about tariffs, how they're starting to poke the inflation a little bit. And then he just basically said, hey, this AI demand it's just unprecedented, right, in terms of what he sees and what's going on, and that, hey, we need to continue to get in front of it. Amazon has an amazing view because they power many of the startups, maybe 80% of all the startups in the world. But they also power many of the large companies. So they have a good view into how, tech, AI, cloud are being used. So kudos to Amazon and Andy Jassy for sharing that perspective. And then the other one was Dario Amodei from Anthropic, and he gave a perspective that when you look at AI AI and software engineering, that it's basically going to eliminate 50% of the software engineering jobs. Actually, all of them in like 6 to 12 months, not 50%, all of them in 6 to 12 months. And that software engineers right now is saying basically that they're now in this, and they're not even writing code anymore. That's more, they're getting the code written. They're just maybe editing and tweaking and stuff like that. And then he said it was a 50% of entry-level jobs will be eliminated, and that we would have artificial general intelligence where AI is smarter than human, in the next year or 2 years. And then there's maybe not him, but others I've heard say that, where AI is smarter than all humans together, I don't know, 5 years or something like that. So it's moving fast. It's moving fast. And then the last point he said, and this is, we think about these chips and these AI chips, that he likens them to like nuclear weapons, right? And we got to be very careful who we let AI chips get in the hands of, in some case, China or whatever, right? That they're equivalent to like nuclear. So we need to be really protective of these AI chips. So there was many other speeches, many other things. I thought those were interesting ones because they they're tech leaders. I talk a lot about exponential growth. These leaders are in the throes of exponential growth all the time. So I thought I'd do a quick summary. Encourage you to watch the videos, but if you don't have time to watch videos, you wanted a quick snapshot of what went on there. That was it. And so want to wish everyone a phenomenal weekend. I want to thank the sponsors of the Exponential Growth Podcast, the Executive House, Salvi Media, the Tech Series, the CEO Series, the CEO Roundtable, for their support. And stay tuned. More great episodes coming up. Thank you.